Hi, over the last several weeks, I've shared many of my thoughts and tools with you so that you can know how to cope the best you possibly can after the death of a loved one or another major loss. Because, well, for two reasons. One, because I know that we are all going to experience many losses over the course of our lifetimes. And also, I know what it means for people if they don't mourn or grieve really thoroughly, really well. If they don't, then they really can't live fully. I know this to be true for people I've known and also for myself. So it really is wise for you to learn how to cope your best in the situation. So what I want to do in the last video in our series is to offer some final thoughts and also give you a few more tips that will have you really knowing whether there's something going on for you right now with a loss or in the future, for you to know that really you have everything you need to really, really nail it. The first thing I want to mention is I realize that I'm sharing this with you at the holiday time, and this is a time for a lot of people where a lot of grief, a lot of memories can get stirred up. Some painful and also some really beautiful and wonderful. So this next tip that I have for you, if it's really early days for you where you've lost someone recently or you've just experienced a major loss really recently, it may be a little soon for you to do this, and you'll trust your judgment on this. Some people, when they're in the early stages of grief or mourning, they really need to take a break from certain rituals in their life, including the holidays. And you'll know to do that because when I describe this to you, you'll sort of feel it like, no, I'm not ready to do that yet. I'm really sort of in the early acute stages of it. But it's something I hope you'll keep in mind for the future. For those of you for whom the person passed less recently, or it's something that you've had a few holiday seasons and you said, yeah, we really did it low key the first few years because it just didn't feel the same, and that was great, that worked for you. This year I want to encourage you to try something a little bit different as you move along in the resolution of your grief around the death of that person. And that is this: when you're noticing the preparations you're doing around the holidays, whether it's the decorating or the putting up the tree, or I know Hanukkah has passed, but you get the idea. When we're doing all of the amazing, wonderful parts of whether it's gathering with other people, just the things we do, some new but some old, because we love to sort of relive that experience. You may be feeling that person. You may be having a lot of memories of those good times that you had with them. I really want to encourage you to get in touch with all of the beauty of that so that you can really have it be a holiday season for you where it's actually continuing to do what I call working your grief, as you continue to honor that person, but to have it be in a new way where it's not connected as much with the sadness and the loss, but about the way that you can know that you have the power to sort of bring that relationship, bring the wonderful memory of that person to you. And I think that around holiday rituals, ways that we do things, certain recipes, certain meals, certain carols that you sang, or certain whatever it is that you and your family, you and your friends do, what's personal for you, to really consider paying close attention to how you do that in a way that has you really summon that person to you in a way that's truly, truly meaningful. The next thing I want to talk with you about is the idea of what I call a grief break. So you've likely had the experience of this if you've lost a person very close to you through death. In the early days, you could appreciate that for many people, they feel like they are really sad most of the time. It's a 24/7 kind of experience, days, weeks, months on end, depending on the nature of your relationship and how you're grieving, right? And I want you to know that you're human and that no one can grieve, and to the extent that happens when you've lost someone really close to you. We're just not designed to grieve constantly, continuously, with no break for days, weeks, months, sometimes years on end. It's just not healthy for us. It can be really exhausting physically and emotionally, and it can be the kind of experience that you may not notice when you're in it. But I want to encourage you to think about that for yourself. So if it's been a while and you're feeling really particularly drained, I want you to consider honoring yourself and honoring the person who has died enough to give yourself a grief break. And what that looks like is taking, whether that's a short piece of time, or if you're really willing to take this on, even be brave enough to give yourself a whole day and do exactly as it suggests with a grief break. Give yourself permission to take time to do something for yourself where you let yourself be happy, you let yourself enjoy something, let yourself be with others perhaps, or alone, whatever you want to do. And do it without doubting yourself, and do it without guilt. Now, why do I say this? Because for a lot of people, when I talk with them about this, they say, oh, I could never do that. That would be like I don't miss them, or I'm not really pining for them still, or I'm not really grieving. And I encourage you to challenge that thought for yourself. Remembering what I said, that it's just not healthy for us to go on end in pain for an extended period of time, that it's okay to take a break from it, to rejuvenate a little bit. It has nothing to do with not caring, nothing to do with not missing. It really just has to do with you loving yourself enough to give yourself that bit of a break. And also, it helps you in your developing a new relationship with that person in the future, where you relate to them in a way that's much more connected with happy memories and not with as much of the pain. If you want to give a look at the last video I did, the third in the series, I go into a lot more detail about that, about after you've had a significant period of loss and mourning the person, creating a new relationship with them. So check out my last video for more on that. So I hope that you do that. So really, essentially, it's could you love yourself enough? Could you love the relationship with that person enough to give yourself a sorely needed break, and to know that it's okay, that it doesn't diminish your grief, it doesn't diminish your love for the person at all. It's just about self-care, nothing more. And actually, I do believe that it sets you up to go back to your mourning, to your grieving in a way that's more powerful for you. The next thing I want to talk with you about has to do with support of others. We've been talking mostly about your experience of grief and how you do it that hasn't worked so well, and my ideas for how you can do it in a way that really, really is wonderfully powerful for you, really effective. We've talked about that all being about sort of your own experience. Yet we're also, all of us are going to be called upon in our lifetime to be supporting of other people. And I'm not sure what your experience has been, but my understanding of it since I was a little kid up till now is that it's one of the things that the ways of supporting other people that I feel like people have the toughest time with. So if you think about that, look around in your own life for yourself, what it was like for you supporting other people, but also when you had your own loss experience, whatever, whether it was the death of someone or a major loss like the breakup of a relationship, or you're having a rough time with retirement, or you lost your job. How were people with you in terms of how they were able to support you? I think it comes from people just in general not being so comfortable with that, the feelings associated with loss. And what I want to share with you today is some of my thoughts about how you can be most supportive. Because also, the more we can sort of help each other out, then if you are helping your friends and your family members with it, you're probably going to be a great role model for them, so that when it turns around again and you're in a position where they could support you, they might be more equipped to do it because you were a great model for them, right? Cool. So with that in mind, what I want to offer to you is my take on things based on what I've seen is that people say over and over again, I don't know what to do and I don't know what to say. So a lot of times they'll back off and not do anything. When I say to them, hey, look, what do you want to be like in terms of this person you really care about? They're going through a rough time, best friend, close relative. What do you want to do? And they're like, I want to be there for them. I want to make it better for them. So what I offer to you is, if you don't know what to do or say, trust two things. Number one is just be with them. All you got to do is be with them. Be present. It's amazing how simple it is and how loving and magical it is, and how many times I've had people say, all they did was just, they were willing to be with me. That's it. I know it's not easy. It's not comfortable to be with someone who's in intense amount of pain. Yet, I promise you, if you could be brave enough to approach that person and just be with them, it's not as hard when you get used to it. The second thing is ask the person. It blows my mind how much energy we all spend trying to figure out what to say, what to do. Do I hug? Do I not hug? Do I bring a casserole? Do I not? What do I do? Do I call? Do I not call? We spend a lot of energy trying to figure out what they want rather than just asking them. And a lot of times it's been my experience that people are more than happy to tell you, or they'll say, I have no idea. I'm numb inside. I don't even know what I feel. But tell you what, I'm so appreciative that you asked. That in and of itself was helpful. And I'll get back to you when I kind of get my head around what I could do. That feeling just that someone's acknowledging their experience, that they care. And you may have been on the receiving end of this already. And I hope you have been. I hope you have people in your life who kind of get it and know the value of just saying, hey, look. And it may not be that you want me to, hand you tissues while you're crying. It could be I could just mow the lawn for you, or go to the grocery store, or make some phone calls for me because I can't tell any more people today. It hurts too much. So if you could be open to being willing to doing the things that are asked of you, I think that's absolutely, it's amazing, and you won't believe how much you're going to be able to help them from it. And it's much less difficult when you basically just be with the person and ask. What do you need? What can I do to help? Knowing too that question is often help in and of itself, because it acknowledges that they're going through something and that they're not alone. The last thing I want to say to you really has to do with something that I've noticed in a lot of people. And I think I remember, I probably felt like this the first time I got my heart broken, which was I don't even need to say it. As soon as I said that, you know what I'm thinking, right? I'll never love again, right? So that's partly sort of the younger person's first, breakup, heartbroken. I'll never do it again, hurts too much. Forgetting about all the wonder of it and just thinking about the pain and the sadness, right? It's been my experience that it doesn't happen just to younger people, but that many people will say, I am just not going to sign up for that. And this is the thing. It's something that I think people don't realize it, but when you do that, you often close your heart off, not to just that relationship that was lost, whether someone broke up with you, whether you were divorced, whether someone died, but it has the effect of us closing our heart a little bit in general to everything, to other people, new relationships, to deepening the relationships we already have. Not only the relationships with other people, I think the relationship we have with ourselves. I think relationship we have with anything, with nature, with pets, with strangers, with employers, with employees, with clients, whatever you do for work. It really has that effect of making our world a little bit smaller. Don't you think? And I want to remind you that, yes, the pain is tremendous. And yes, we're not looking to go forward in a way that, let me sign up for that again. But I want you to consider that along with knowing how to grieve thoroughly and really well so that you can live fully, I want you to consider, honoring whether that it was a relationship that you lost or a person that you lost. Could you honor that relationship, that person who you've lost, and also yourself by keeping your heart open? I hope that you've answered yes. So to finish up, I would say, that I broke down, if you saw it on my blog at leodaskulke.com, you'll see that I started to list some what I called grief bites of wisdom, because there were really, really succinct ways of summarizing some of the tools that I've offered to you. And one of the ones, I think the last one that I did has to do with what I want to share with you. My intention for you and why I did this series is for you to heal from any experiences in your life. We've been talking about the death of people, and we've been talking about major losses, but really anything, even minor losses, injuries, illnesses, anything. My wish for you is that you practice the art and master the art of healing intentionally, which means healing with purpose, thinking about healing thoughtfully. Because I know this to be true, when you do that, the thoughts and the memories of experiences you've had, chapters that ended, relationships that ended, people that died, when you heal intentionally, you will get to have the gift of the memory of that chapter or experience or person. You'll get to the day where it will bring you more smiles than tears. It's that important. Take care.